Hi there, I'm Haruka. The past year, I watched a lot of anime, but I also read even more manga, but that part is not the important part and actually kind of detrimental to me watching more anime. I tried to keep up all year, but I started falling off late into the summer season, but I did watch enough anime to have opinions on everything, so I guess it's time to give you my list of what I think. The categories are shows I didn't watch but looked fun, disappointments, surprises, shows I had a good time watching, and my top 5 anime of 2021. Shows I didn't watch but looked fun. So there's certain genres that I don't watch or shows I just generally didn't find the time to watch, but you know, they seem pretty good for people who like that sort of thing. First up, Attack on Titan's final season. They did a thing again. Apparently they're not done yet. I don't even know how many final seasons they need, but they keep doing it and people keep liking it, so whatever. Vivi Fluorite Eye's Song. This is a show people keep telling me about and keep trying to get me to watch. As it was explained to me, it's like Terminator, but instead of Arnold, it's Hatsune Miku. Someday I'll watch it. Odd Taxi, I really just couldn't find the time to watch Odd Taxi. I watch most of my anime at night to relax me, and if it's a show I need to think for, I try to save it for when I'm actually ready for something to happen. It sounds good though, it's the one that everyone wants you to watch. Suki to Laika to Nosferatu. Looks like my plan worked and there are people who really like the show, so I'll give it a try at some point. The vampire girl looks cute. Mushoku Tensei. No matter how hot the big buff cat lady is, I just cannot find the energy to watch this. I may watch a bunch of trashy isekai, but that's mindless isekai. This one is gonna make me think. I don't like thinking. It's bad for my brain. Disappointments. There was some anime that I thought I was gonna be really into, but it just didn't work out. Goku Shufudo really could have been more. It was okay for what it was, but they could have done more with the source material and made a real anime instead of the moving manga that they made. Sentoin Hakenshimasu, this show was super hyped that it came from the same writer who wrote Konosuba. The thing is, this was what he wrote before Konosuba, and you can tell that because he hadn't quite hit the stride he's in when he's going into Konosuba. Plus, this wasn't directed by Takaomi Kanasaki, who directed all Konosuba things as well as Princess Connect. It's not bad, but definitely less than what everyone expected. Pura Ore Pride of Orange. Okay, I knew what I should have expected, but I still let myself get excited. Look, it's the first time we were seeing hockey in anime, and the mobile game doesn't look half bad. It's not a card game, but it's an idol show, and I don't like those. Shiroi Suna no Aquatope. This is just a very specific case. Aquatope looks beautiful, tells a pretty dang good story. Honestly, I was debating switching places with this one and another that is actually in the top 5. But they hinted at a Yuri romance and then they said, no, they're like sisters now. They're definitely not into each other. They're just sisters. I shouldn't be too surprised with the amount of bait. It's an aquarium after all. Sayonara Watashi no Kramer. I made a massive video before this show started because I wanted everyone to know how about this cool manga that I liked and was really excited about it getting an adaptation. I regret that video so much now after seeing the anime. They removed most of the key themes, added in some weird ones, and overall the animation was pretty janky as well. It's pretty damn impressive if an anime can be so bad that it makes me think less of the manga. Surprises! Shows I wasn't expecting much of, but turned out better than expected. Slime 300. I figured it was gonna be cute and fluffy, and it was. Look, it's just not often that you get a show that is genuinely a comfy, warm blanket type show. No horny, just comfy. Kageki Shoujo. They tried to do so many things with this show. They tackled eating disorders, idol culture, and some much darker issues beyond that. While they didn't handle all of them quite as well as they could have, it's impressive that they even tried. Also, damn she tall! Jakukara Tomazaki-kun. It was a genuinely interesting story out of a fairly generic premise. I'd put this in a fairly post-postmodernist category as it approached the premise with a level of sincerity that you don't normally see. A lot of people don't respect that, but I do. It's also just something that in general was actually a bit helpful personally. Not like I went outside in the past 2 years, but I mean, hey, as soon as I get out there, I'll start using these. Shinigami Bochan Tokuro Maid. The animation on this show was so terrible, but characters and their relationships kept me going every week. I mean, truly, this is garbage visually, but I implore you to just watch the whole thing and you will fall in love with Alice, you will fall in love with the story. Every single character feels so amazing. Now for shows that I had a good time with. These are essentially honorable mention. Not the best of the year, but I feel they need to be applauded for their work. I'm gonna mention a few sequels. I don't like talking too much about sequels unless they're truly transformative, so this will be quick. Dragon Maid S, Elma is adorable, Iruru was exactly what I expected. ReZero Season 2. This entire season was world building and I wasn't really against that. Otto with the glow up, obviously. Villainess, same old Bacarina, gotta love her. Now for some original shows, Ganbare Doki-chan. Yomu does it again. Forget what I said earlier. It is possible to be both horny and comfy. Getsuyobi no Tawawa 2. I didn't even realize the first season was a thing, so the second season was good too. It's basically the same thing as what Yomu does, except, you know, it's not him, it's a different person. Nagatoro. I just felt like I needed to mention this somewhere. It was a good adaptation, and I just think it's a good time. Read the manga, please, it is fun. Uramichi Oni-san. Fun, dark adult comedy about a children's show. The ED absolutely slaps. Just vibes. And now we get to my top 5 anime of the year. Number 5, Wonder Egg Priority. This is the one that could have gone to disappointments. This anime came out of nowhere to do so many crazy things, but in the end, it ruined the goodwill it had with those who fell in love with it. By turning the main villain into a person who's causing all of the troubles facing the characters, it delegitimizes the problems each character faces. In the beginning, everything truly felt like a big allegory for mental health, and each character was going through this mystical journey to slay their inner demons. And instead, it's just explained away as sci-fi bullshit. Whoops, depression doesn't exist, it's just an evil robot girl. But I cannot minimize how amazing the first half of the show is. I mean, every single character is wonderful, it looks stunning, I mean, it just felt so good for the time that it was there. It was set to be an all-timer, but I think it's going to be going to the Hall of Very Good alongside some other solid shows of recent years. Number 4, Horimiya. Sometimes you just want a straightforward romance with likable characters. I don't have too much to say about this show other than it was just a really fun time to watch these two characters grow into each other. They didn't force anything, it all felt natural, and all these characters are just people you want to be happy. It didn't need to be pretty, it just needed to put the characters on the screen and let them run. Also, the whole subplot of Hori finding out she's a masochist is probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a romance anime. Number 3, Higehiro. Much like Wonder Egg, this one might have fallen apart near the end, but it didn't, at least as long as you don't read the subtext too hard. It didn't fall apart if you don't read the subtext too hard. Oh god, it may have fallen apart. As a premise, I found Higehiro an incredibly interesting story. You found a cute girl out on the street who says she'll sleep with you if you give her a place to stay, and this man chooses the correct answer, which is to give her a place to live if she needs one, but do not touch the underage girl. And then he even gives her chores to do so that she wouldn't feel like a freeloader. Yoshida is the biggest Chad in all of anime, and he has been inducted into the League of Chads alongside Sakura Asuzagawa and actually just Sakura. I think that he's the only person there at the moment. The thing that I found the most fun was that he truly didn't look at her in that way, and he had actual women his age that he pursued. She's a kid, let her be a kid, and find some normalcy. Any show where the main character builds a family instead of a harem is a good show. Number 2, Megalobox Nomad. I said earlier that I do not talk about sequels unless they're truly different, and this sequel hit different. I started the season not even looking at this show, and by the end I was hooked. Despite ranking Higehiro at a 10 and this show at a 9, I think that the sheer shock of this show earned it a higher rank on the list. This is nothing like the first season. The first season was an underdog story, this one was a redemption arc. The show is no longer about the boxing, it's about the relationships that were damaged by the toll that boxing has taken on these broken men in the ring. That tone is echoed by the EDs of each season. Kakate Koyo is a hype song for the underdog. El Canto del Colibre is the song the local musician plays as you stare at your whiskey knowing you can't pay the tab. The story isn't just Joe's, it takes a wider look at a few things. First of all, the immigrant story it tells is just brilliant and the most nuanced take I've ever seen in anime. Also, Joe's story of regret and search for forgiveness was so powerful because no one could bring themselves to forgive him instantly. And even by the end, those who hadn't forgiven him still couldn't fully do it because that's how life works sometimes. Finally, Mac's story and the plot around it feels extremely prescient given the discussions of CTE within sports recently. Any other year, this is the top anime and you need to watch it. You can skip the first season, just watch Nomad, it is brilliant. Finally, the top show of 2021, in my eyes, Bokutachi no Remake. This show gave me feelings I haven't had since watching Bunny Girl Senpai. If you know how much I love Bunny Girl Senpai, you know how massive of a compliment that is. Kyoya is a guy who fails in his job as a game developer, and he travels back in time to go to art school instead of normal college. There he meets 3 classmates that will eventually become greats in their own fields. But that's just the premise and, I mean, you know, the first half of the show, but the point where this show gets amazing is halfway through when something shifts in the world that Kyoya went back to, and he's shot back into the future. Or I guess, present day. I mean, it's still 2018, but I mean, it's the present day, I guess. I think the core of what makes this show different and interesting is this reframing. Discovering that simply because he tried to help these people, they were not as successful as they were back in his original timeline. He has a happy life, he's done fairly well for himself, but he carries this massive guilt with him. A kind of guilt that can only be gained through his perspective. One where he knows how things would go if he never met these people. And in this repositioning of the story, you find what the true message is. I'd also like to add, as a bit of a dunk on Wonder Egg, there's no explanation for how or why this has happened to Kyoya. It's something I love in Bunny Girl Senpai, where things are simply mystical and inexplicable. And it's okay that it is. I love all the characters, I love the directions it takes, and I love how these characters all develop as people in every timeline. Anyone who says this is just real life is wrong. First of all, real life is high school and this is college. And also, as I said, there is no return in real life to prove what has changed. That's all I have to say about anime from 2021. That ended at a weird note, but whatever. I have nothing to say about the year itself right now. That's coming next week. I do have a sponsor though. This video is actually sponsored by Lucky Cat's Sticker Company. Go buy some damn stickers. Slap them on your laptop, slap them on your car, slap them on your own damn face. I do not care, and the person who runs this site does not care either. Go to luckycats.com and enter the code JOCK for 15% off. That is JOCK, JOCK, at luckycats.com for 15% off. Link is in the description. Thank you for watching.